Close the door. Being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Thank you for riding with the Watchdog. Live and local. Just the way you like it.
Live and local conversation for the Ohio Valley continues shortly. Here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling, next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling, wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm loving living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
From the Watchdog, here is your local weather forecast for your Wednesday. Mostly sunny and breezy, high of 67. Tonight, mostly cloudy and breezy with a low of 50. And for your Thursday, expect a chance of showers in the morning, then partly sunny for the afternoon and breezy with a high of 66. And that's your local weather forecast from the Watchdog.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning, old friends.
Hey, what are you doing here? About to go on the air.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Wake up, fairy princesses, wake up!
Guess what day it is?
Get up before I get you up!
Guess what today is?
It's hump day. Hump day!
Woo-hoo! This is Wednesday. She calls it over the hump day.
Wednesday.
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 We ain't one at a time in here. They broadcast me out on the radio. We're mass communicating.
Let Wednesday begin!
Hit it!
Your morning news, weather, and sports wrapped into his own unique perspective. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe and Brad Leonard in the producer's chair. Brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
In the immortal words of Arthur Godfrey, how are ya? And I am fully aware that there isn't anybody out there who knows who Arthur Godfrey is anymore, but once upon a time, a great radio broadcaster. How are ya? Hump day, Wednesday, hitting the halfway mark of the week. That's really good. We're also hitting the halfway mark of the legislative session in West Virginia, and we got a lot of legislative news to get into today. Governor Justice officially introduced his income tax reduction. A lot of questions being raised about that by people on both sides of the aisle down in Charleston. You remember the jockstrap wearing face mask guy, Robert Karn, senator down in West Virginia? He has resigned from all of his committees. Sent a letter saying, I have more important things to do, and I can't devote my time to being on committees. Now, he's not resigning from the legislature, but from all of his committees. Something feels stinky in Helsinki, but I don't know exactly what it is, but I want you to be aware of it. Dozens of lawmakers have now called for the reopening of the state capitol. We're reopening businesses 100%. Schools are supposed to go back 100%. And yet the capitol locked up tighter than a drum. And of course, Governor Justice still hiding behind his COVID wall press conferences. 81 legislators have signed a letter saying, hold her, Newt. If the kids are in school and businesses are open, let's get these doors of the state capitol open. We'll talk about that. Blanket immunity was one of the horrible parts of this COVID immunity bill that was being proposed in West Virginia. The bill, and you heard us talk about it this week with Senator Ehlenfeld and others, would have said that for no matter what reason, nobody could sue anybody involving COVID, basically, including if somebody intentionally tried to give you COVID. You couldn't sue them. And that was headed quickly for passage. And somebody got to thinking about that and said, you know what, maybe blanket immunity is too much. So they're talking about withdrawing that. We will talk about that. As everybody opens up in West Virginia, local restaurants have mixed reactions to those 100% reopening rules. Not all the folks think it's a good idea. Hoppy Kercheval going to join me. He and I are going to discuss the legislature at its halfway mark. Congress today will likely pass the COVID relief bill sent to President Biden, and our own royal watcher, Victoria Jones, comes in to offer thoughts on the Harry and Meghan interview and its aftermath. The Queen responded yesterday. Prince Charles tap danced around trying to answer it. We'll talk about that, and we'll register more of you for our Watchdog Madness contest. So, that's a lot of what I've got. Going to try and squeeze it into our 2-hour gig today. If you have something on your mind you want to talk about, something I've just mentioned, you want to get your licks in already, feel free to do so at 304-214-1600. 304-214-1600 is the Watchdog Radio Network text line. Use it as you choose. And we'll chat about anything that you want to do. If you have some things to say, just say it right there. You're going to enjoy the day weather-wise, apparently. It is going to be a really, really warm day. We're looking at flirting with, probably not getting there, but flirting with 70, Biff. That sounds mighty good to me.
I'll take that.
68, the predicted high. We could be getting to I think 72, Zach said, is the high ever on this day in the upper Ohio Valley. And we're not going to get there, probably. We're going to be really, really close. Sunny throughout the morning hours. Maybe some clouds come in this afternoon, but really warm, really sunny. Going to be a great day today, so you can enjoy it. We were out and about doing some things yesterday with Teddy. He's on spring break this week, so we've had him all week, and we were out and about with him. Wanted to go to the park, but by the time I went to the park, Wheeling Park was so packed. I'm still not going to take him into a crowded group of people. Man, Wheeling Park was absolutely packed with kiddies on the swings. I guess everybody had the same idea we did. So maybe we'll try it again today. Currently 47 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 47 here at my home studios in Elm Grove, 47 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. You're watching us on Facebook Live, are you? Hi, hello, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in on the video cast. We're on Facebook Live, on my Facebook page, on the Watchdogs Facebook page. You can also catch us directly off of watchdognetwork.com, where our video feed is also provided. And, of course, at the end of the day, if you want to watch us in our archives, check up on some of the shows today or in the past. All of the video casts of all of our shows, mine, Bill's, Big Rick's, are all archived on our YouTube channel. I just ask you to do one thing if you're watching us on Facebook. Hit the like button. You know, underneath there it says like. Hit the like button, and then hit the share button. So if you're put us on your timeline, your news feed, wherever. If you have some particular groups you're involved in on Facebook, but let everybody share the wealth, so to speak, of this show. 7:16 as we get up and running. So, Biff, got to do it again today. Hate to use the phrase. You know the phrase I hate to use?
It is what it is?
Now, cancel culture.
Oh.
I hate to use that phrase, but here it is again. Months ago, we talked about Disney Plus starting to put some warnings on some of their old cartoons and kiddie shows. And to me, even that was a little bit ridiculous, but they were going to put a little alert at the beginning of some movies saying that, this movie could contain, I don't know how they're going to phrase it, but inappropriate scenes of cultural impropriety. I don't know what they're going to say. Well, apparently they decided it's not enough to just put a warning. So Disney Plus, and please don't get me wrong, I like Disney Plus. My wife and I watch all kinds of things on Disney Plus. Teddy watches all kinds of things on Disney Plus. It's a paid streaming service. We have it. We love it. But Disney Plus has now decided to not show some of these movies at all. These really horrible movies, Biff. These movies that are just going to destroy our children. Movies like Dumbo and Peter Pan and even the Aristocats, which is just a bunch of singing kitty cats. They've decided to take these off of their streaming channel. You can't watch them anymore. They will not be available. Dumbo, the big-eared elephant, for God's sake. Peter Pan. Peter Pan? Well, apparently there is some cultural inappropriateness in these things. Dumbo has the singing crows. This is the original Dumbo, not the one that was remade a couple years ago. Dumbo's original 1941 version had these singing crows, which, in the words of Disney, pay homage to racist minstrel shows. And so they can't have it. It was made in 1941. For God's sake.
Because I'm sure when kids are watching that's what they think of.
Absolutely. Well, they go, oh, Dada, is that from a racial minstrel show? Right?
I mean, yeah, think about that. I mean, that's just, but again, it go back to the classics and shows and books and whatever else, and apparently they'll find something wrong with everything without taking into context the time that it was produced in.
Peter Pan's in trouble because apparently, if you're watching a video, I'll show you a little picture here. Apparently, Tinkerbell went to go visit some Indians, kind of Indians. And he's sitting in a teepee with a chief with a headdress on. And like a little Pocahontas type character there too. Peter Pan criticized our stereotypical depictions of Native Americans. I get it. We have come to learn and respect a whole lot more about Native Americans in more recent days. But Peter Pan was made the year I was born. 1953. Peter Pan was made in 1953. And in 1953, it was kind of cool to see Tinkerbell sitting down with the Injuns. I did some research. I still don't know what's wrong with the Aristocats. That's one of the more recent Disney movies. It's just, it's like it's singing kitty cats. Apparently, they say that the one of the cats, a Siamese cat, had exaggerated stereotypical traits like slanted eyes. It was a Siamese cat!
Jeez.
Excuse me. You guys got me all choked up.
They'll find...
This has just got to stop at some point.
But when you look at every little thing and you're not happy until you find something, this is going to continue.
We mentioned Pepe Le Pew earlier this week. Space Jam, the sequel to Space Jam, Which, who was in it? Was Shaq O'Neal? Who was in Space Jam?
The original one?
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Oh, I know it's a basketball player. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, apparently it's on shaky grounds, too, and I don't even know why. But Space Jam is maybe getting pulled as well. Look, I say it every time, so I do my best to try to protect my liberal card. I believe that we have to be careful of how we portray people in contemporary society. And I believe that language matters, and I believe that inappropriate use of language matters. I do not believe that by singing "Baby, It's Cold Outside," you are promoting rape culture. I do not believe that Pepe Le Pew, "Oh, I love you, my little honey pot. I love to have a kiss from you. Give me the kiss." I do not believe that Pepe Le Pew promotes rape culture. I do not believe that any child will be harmed by watching Dumbo and the Singing Crows. My grandson Teddy's pretty smart, okay? He's pretty smart. Catches on to a lot of things real fast. For the life of me, I cannot conceive of the time when he's going to say to me, "Granddad, I believe those Singing Crows are a call back to the racist era of the Jim Crow era." It doesn't make sense. But Disney Plus is taking them off. Dumbo, Peter Pan, Swiss Family Robinson, the Aristocats, all being pulled from their channel. Children shan't watch these things anymore. And Biff, we've talked about it in so many of these different occasions too. If any of these movies were made today, if this was a contemporary movie that really tried to show stereotypical Native American Indians, I mean, I'm all in favor of getting rid of Chief Wahoo. I know a lot of you think that's too much, but I get that. We have to be careful what we do in contemporary society. But when we're looking back to movies made in 1953, I'm an old man near death, for God's sake. That's how long ago it's been. It was made the year I was born. And we're gonna take it out.
You know what this is going to do, though. What this is going to cause, and I don't know how many people, if they still have them or not. But if you have tapes of these shows, or this is going to bring back movie watching.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if all the streams are going to get rid of all this stuff, the only other way to watch it would be from going back in the old days with the tapes.
It's a good point. We'll be watching, we pull out our old videotapes again, looking around going, we got a video machine here? Anybody got a machine that plays videos?
We still have that VCR down in the basement?
Because now that you mention it, I don't know that we have Peter Pan. I think we have Dumbo someplace. I think we have literally an old videotape of Dumbo. Maybe Aristocats too. That's the one that gets me. I got to do more. I guess, like I said, apparently the one cat's a Siamese cat that's got slanted eyes, and it's an exaggerated. Come on, people, please come on. All the things in the world there are to worry about. Everything there is to worry about in this world. COVID has killed more people than any war in American history except for the Civil War. $2 trillion of federal money is going to go out into our homes and states because of COVID relief. The George Floyd trial is underway in Minneapolis because we have, in some cases, too many racist cops. They attacked the U.S. Capitol and wanted to hang the vice president. See, these are the things that if you have a desire to really worry about something, worry about those things. Don't worry about Dumbo and the Singing Crows.
And Peter Pan.
and Peter Pan visiting some Indians. For the time being, that's all I've got to say about that. Have some thoughts on a couple of local stories. They're coming up. Huge amount of legislative stuff I want to get into this morning. Hoppy is with me a little bit later on. He and I are going to kick around a couple of these big stories as well. And, why would you say this? Oh, honest to goodness, looking at my text line. Howard, you say Teddy is pretty smart? Guess he takes after Nancy. Oh, come on.
Wow.
Do you have to start that? Do you have to start that? Come on. 727 Watchdog Morning Show.
Tune into Marshall County's second favorite son, Donnie Gilbert.
If you got down payment assistance or a discounted interest rate just for being a recent college grad, teacher, nurse, or veteran. The Ohio Housing Finance Agency offers this and more, and our programs are always available for eligible Ohioans, big city, small town, and everywhere in between. Find out if you qualify at myohiohome.org. That's myohiohome.org. Home ownership, ready when you are.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
From the Watchdog Network, right now traffic. Here's the latest from the Robinson Auto Group Traffic Center.
Traffic near the Highlands, on Washington Avenue, and on the Fort Henry Bridge is on its normal pattern. Traffic near the Ohio Valley Mall, on 70 and 470, and on State Route 7 is running regularly. The lane width reductions on the eastbound entrance ramp and westbound exit ramp to Wheeling Island will continue. The closure of I-70 from US 250 and West Virginia 2 south, the 16th Street exit to the Ogilvy Park exit for Phase 2 of the Fulton Bridge Replacement Project will continue. The closure of the US 250 North on-ramp to I-70 East as part of Phase 2 will continue. The intermittent McCulloch Street daytime closures will continue. The left lane closure on I-70 westbound from approximately the Route 40 on-ramp to just past the US 250 southbound off-ramp will continue. The Market Street overpass with reduction will continue. I-70 construction will continue westbound where crossovers are in effect. And all existing detours and closures will continue for the I-70 Bridges project. Follow Ohio Valley Traffic Report on Facebook, WTRF 7 News, and the Watchdog for updates.
Shady Side. The Watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hoppy Kercheval, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. Shady Side trusts the Watchdog.
He rambles, he rants, and sometimes he sings. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
47 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 47 at my home studios here in Elm Grove, 47 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling. In the heart of the Ohio Valley, looking out the window, it is clear and sunny outside. It's going to be that way all day. Sunny, warm, pushing near 70, probably not quite there, but 68 or so maybe during the day. So enjoy the nice day today. Some rain comes in tomorrow. Zach is back. He'll have the forecast source coming up in just a bit. In West Virginia, of course, Governor Justice has now opened up things. Bars, restaurants, general stores are open to 100% capacity now as opposed to limited capacity. Schools are back at 5 days a week in general. But in all of occasions, social distancing still has to be maintained. Masks still have to be worn under the governor's guidelines in West Virginia. Some restaurant owners are locally a little concerned. They say, well, they tell us 100%, but I can't do 100% in order to and still maintain social distancing. And I get that. Some of them can. Morning Intel Today talks to the folks at Generations who point out that they've got such a big facility. Biffy, that's the nice thing about Generations. It's just big, lots of spaces. They can go back to 100% capacity and still maintain social distancing. But others that have smaller venues, Matt Welsh from the Vagabond Kitchen among those who was online, not complaining, but commenting about it, it's more difficult. You can be 100%, but you literally can't physically be 100% because chairs and so on are too close together and you have to maintain social distancing. I don't know what the solution to that is, if there is any. It's just deal with it as you can. You can do 100%, but only if you can find a way to properly socially distance. But apparently some restaurant owners have some mixed feelings about it. And I get the argument then that in a sense it is, I don't say discriminatory, I don't mean it quite that strongly, but it puts restaurants and bars that are in smaller physical locations, it puts them at a competitive disadvantage to those people who have much larger spaces. And I get that. But nonetheless, we are open for business in West Virginia, so figure it out, I guess. Meanwhile, Ohio County school officials say, although the governor has said everybody back to 5 days a week, the state school board did allow remote learning to continue if those chose to. And Morning Intel Today tells me, under a Jocelyn King byline story, at least 10% of Ohio County school students say they are going to stay home and continue remote learning, even though they have the 5 day a week going on in the school. So about 10% of the kids are still going to stay with remote learning. And I respect the parents that make those decisions, that they're not ready to put their kids back in the classroom. If your kid can handle the remote learning, a lot of kids apparently have trouble with it. Teddy he's back in class now. But, well, not this week. He's on vacation this week. But once I went back to class, he goes back to the classroom with him. But he was able to handle remote. He did his remote learning very well. He did it with our house, and we supervised him, and he had no problem with it. Some people do, some people don't. I get it. But if your kids have no problem with remote learning and you want to keep them home, I think that's a perfectly legitimate idea. And again, Ohio County school officials say 10% of the kids are apparently still doing remote learning. The question that I have, Biff, when's the governor going to come out of his hiding in his press conferences? The governor has ordered businesses to open up at full capacity. He has ordered all the kids to go back to school 5 days a week. The governor essentially is saying that we got to get back to normal now because things are getting better, and things are getting better. I do agree. Then how come he's still hiding in his press conferences, keeping the press on Zoom, and it's just he and his buddies in his little room there doing that? When's the governor going to follow his own guidelines? If everything is okay, get back to meeting the press on a regular basis. And over 80 legislators yesterday sent a letter to the leadership of the Capitol, of the legislature, and those 80 legislators came from both sides of the aisle saying, open the damn thing up. You know, this legislative session, no lobbyists, no public, just nobody's allowed into the building other than legislators and the media. That's pretty much it. And even that's very controlled. We have to watch via video in some cases, or even just audio in other cases. It's hard for the public to stay engaged. And Stephen Baldwin, the Senate Minority Leader, wrote a piece last week in his Back Pew column that he writes, pointing out that there's fewer occasions of public engagement this year, even via video, just because the Capitol was closed. Well, hold on a second. If it's okay for kids to go back to school full time, if it's okay for the stores to open 100%, then how about opening up the state capitol? How about having public hearings again? How about letting the public sit in the galleries and watch? Yes, you want to do like everybody else does, put those big, sashes in between seats, so there's only every other seat, social distance and so on. But if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. It's good for the public. It's good for public officials. And what makes it even worse is that most of the legislators already got their COVID shot, their vaccine. Open up. Governor, stop hiding. Legislators, stop trying to keep the public out. You want to open everything up? Let's open up your activities as well. And that's my mini rant of the morning. Zach Petty is back. We'll talk to him about what looks to be a pretty good day today, coming up next here on the Watchdog Morning Show. But first, we should check some Ohio Valley headlines.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your local news headlines from 7 News at WTRF, My Ohio Valley, and ABC Ohio Valley. Only on AM 1600 WKKX. The Watchdog.
Good Wednesday morning, Ohio Valley. I'm Stephen Ruffing with your 7 News headlines. The 3-year-old I-70 Bridges project in Wheeling is just about at its halfway point. Up until yesterday, the lane for drivers heading westbound was on the eastbound side of the Fort Henry Bridge, but now crews have officially made the switch so that each lane is on its proper side. They finished steel and substructure repairs and replaced the deck on the westbound side. Next week, it will be on the eastbound side's turn for some major repairs. All that work is a lot to take in, but the crews say progress is moving along quickly. And speaking of the Roads to Prosperity project, the Division of Highways is now taking bids to repair the Veterans Memorial Bridge in Weirton. It is one of the bridges that connects the city to Steubenville, and the department says it's in great need of maintenance. The work will include repairs to concrete damage, along with fixing a service elevator that goes to the top of the bridge tower. The DOH is also planning work to the Lindsay Bridge in Marshall County and the Jennings-Randolph Bridge in Hancock County. And we have continuing coverage in Ohio County now on the possible lack of public resource officers. The Board of Education is looking to other agencies to fill 5 empty spots for the upcoming school year. 5 Sheriff Deputy Public Resource Officers are set to finish out the school year under their new contract. Numbers released from the County Commission show there's been a huge jump in cost to keep the deputies in the schools. And that was a look at your headlines. Have a great day, everyone.
Another win for the Penguins at home. They beat the New York Rangers 4-2. Pittsburgh ended their 5-game homestand with a 4-1 record. How about goaltender Tristan Jarry? He recorded 33 saves. The Penguins improved to 15-9-1. Visit the Buffalo Sabres Thursday night. Believe it or not, the Nailers, with a shutout, a victory over Indy, 6-0 was the final score. And how about the Pirates? Like the Penguins, they're hot. They beat the Braves 10-1. Starter Stephen Brault and the Bucco pitching staff came within 1 out of pitching a no-hitter. Adam Frazier at the plate went 3 for 3. Pirates improved to 5-3. Visit the New York Yankees tonight in Tampa, Florida. And for the second time in 5 years, the Pittsburgh Steelers declined to use the franchise tag. Last season, the team tagged Bud Dupree, but not this year. Dupree and Juju Smith-Schuster are among a dozen Steelers that will become unrestricted free agents on March 17th. Hey, be safe out there. Be considerate of others. Check on the elderly. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
In a hurry and need to see a doctor? The Woodsdale Health Center and Walk-In Clinic is located across from Little Caesars on National Road. Open 7 to 7 Monday through Friday. Patients can receive primary care, treatment of minor illnesses and injuries, wellness visits and physicals. There's also a lab draw station open from 8 to noon weekdays. A division of Wheeling Hospital, the Woodsdale Health Center is led by family physician Dr. Michael Wilson. Call 304-234-1971. They'll take good care of you.
Hi, this is Shauna Johnson from Metro News, just one of the contributors to the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe. Listen and stay informed every weekday right here.
Miss a part of the show? Want to hear a segment again? Check out our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Does anybody care about Meghan and Harry and the interview earlier this week? Yeah, Biff and I decided we really didn't, but I guess a lot of people do. The Queen responded yesterday. Prince Charles kind of tap danced around it yesterday. I figured we ought to spend some time with it. So coming up later on, our very own royal watcher, a former Brit herself, Victoria Jones, joins us to talk about the Meghan-Harry interview. Right now, let's welcome back from his bed of pain, from his sick day, Zach Petty. Good morning, Zach.
Well, good morning, Howard. How are you, sir?
Oh, you still sound a little under the weather. You still a little stuffy?
Yeah, but I was explaining to Biff, I sound worse than I feel. Just kind of like that congestion and not so much a sore throat compared to what I had on Monday, because Monday was pretty bad, but just kind of stuffy, and other than that, I just sound worse than I feel. So definitely on the up and ups for sure.
So just rest yesterday, or did you pump yourself full of drugs, or what?
I did a bunch of sleep, water, tea, and Sudafed to try to get rid of all the congestion. So we've been trying to pump the fluids in, and other than that, just trying to take it easy best as I can.
Now listen, I got to talk to you about this. Maybe we should just nobody's listening really. I don't know that you and Steven should have been talking about consuming alcohol on the air the way you were this morning. No, I mean, I heard the two of you talk about how you needed more whiskey in your morning, and you were looking for a lot of whiskey, and I don't know if your bosses are going to want to hear you talking about how much whiskey you needed. Did I misunderstand something?
I think you did, because there was the pup whiskey. I needed some more of her picture, because boy, Howard, she was a cutie.
Oh,
yeah, Howard.
Okay. Okay, all right.
That was the name of the dog that they had towards the end there on the.
That was our loving living local photo of the day.
Okay, because all I heard was you and Stephen going, we need some more whiskey this morning. I was like, oh, please don't say that up, you know. I know Biff does that sometimes, like in his little room back there, but we don't like to publicize it. So this was a doggy picture.
Yes, cute Saint Bernard, 2-year-old Saint Bernard.
Okay, all right, okay. I feel better now.
Good. Glad to clear the air on that one.
Say, speaking of clearing the air, looks like it's going to be nice clear air and a nice warm day today, huh?
Oh, yeah, we could even be flirting with the warmest day of the year. Now, yesterday did take the crown for that so far, but I do expect us to top yesterday's high temperature of 65. We're to be pushing close to 70 by the time this afternoon rolls in with mostly clear skies. And the breeze will be, again, a nice little cool down because 68, I mean, warmest day of the year so far, that'll definitely feel hot to a lot of us, especially me. I mean, I was wearing shorts yesterday, and we talked earlier, I wear shorts at 32, so nothing to scoff off for shorts weather today and tomorrow as well.
Yeah, it was a nice day yesterday. The sun was nice and warm, and boy, the temperatures were really up there. It was really pleasant. Teddy was outside playing around a little bit. He likes to run around in the yard, and so it was just a great day. And today's another one. Now it might cloud up later in the day. Is that right?
Yeah, it looks like right around dinner time, if not heading into the overnight period. I do expect clouds ahead of our next weather maker, which could produce a couple of raindrops for the early morning commute tomorrow, and then maybe just some patchy showers throughout your Thursday. But again, it looks like if it's not raining, it's just going to be a little gray and overcast, and then more widespread rain late in the evening on Thursday. So again, looks like most of the day should be precip-free, but as we head later into the evening, tomorrow is where more abundant rainfall is expected for the Ohio Valley.
So a couple of extremely warm days. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, going to be in the 60s and actually mid to upper 60s. That's great. Then we begin to drop a little bit, and the weekend will be more moderate, more temperate for this time of year, right?
Oh, yeah, we're going to be getting closer or back closer to those seasonable temperatures. Now, today we're actually close to 20 degrees warmer because our normal high for this time of year is in the upper 40s. Now, we'll be slightly cooler than that on Saturday, maybe a degree or two by Sunday, but still, Saturday and Sunday is where we typically should be sitting for temperatures this time of year whenever we look at our climatological average. But the warm air today would be nice to soak in that vitamin D to get out and enjoy. But the weekend is still shaping up to be nice. It'll be sunny. And we're, again, on that positive trend for warming up, at least compared to our normal high temperatures.
And then we start off the week, again, warm, but maybe some rain starting off next week as we look ahead to the end of this week and the beginning of next one.
Yeah, it looks like some patchy rain showers possible Monday afternoon, and then maybe some stray showers on to Tuesday as well. But it doesn't look like it's going to be that bright, beautiful sunshine. It looks like more cloud coverage is expected. But again, 6 to 7 days out, we'll take it with a grain of salt, but just kind of throwing the ideas from what models are hinting at as of now. But Howard, I don't know if you were able to look ahead, because I know you're always busy. You always say I'm running behind on your show, but there's actually the chance for some impressive snow totals out into the interior Rocky Mountain areas Saturday into Sunday, where Denver could actually get upwards of 18 inches of snow in a 24-hour span Saturday into Sunday, which is kind of cool, but at the same time kind of crazy to think about, especially after
that's staying out there, right? That's not coming. That's not coming this way.
No, I don't expect to see any snow activity as of now, but still, just something cool to talk about. I guess I'm always you know me, I'm a weather nerd, so I don't know, just wanted to talk about it.
Always looking for something. NOAA yesterday, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, released a report on February saying that this February, across the world, I suppose, or maybe across the country, I'm not sure, was the coldest February since 1989.
Yeah.
I know we had a lot of snow, and it was kind of a wintry February. I didn't realize how cold it was. Maybe that wasn't necessarily true here. That was a NOAA report on, across the country, but it was the coldest February since 1989, so.
We're also talking about that big dip in the polar vortex where Texas was shut down for a couple weeks, so I guess it makes sense.
February also, again, according to the NOAA report, and we did have a lot of snow. We had more snow than I would have thought we were going to get in February. February set a new record for national snow cover, border to border, coast to coast. A record since 2003, the more snow cover since 2003.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, I like the snow. I know you probably are A-okay with it being completely done. I would probably be closer to saying, all right, I'm done with the snow. Let's get on to the spring and warmer temperatures. But that also means the seasonal sniffle. So I don't know if I want to really trade that in just yet.
And you've already had them, so you don't want them again.
Fair enough. Maybe I'll be immune to them by then.
There you go. All right. Sounds good, Zach. Appreciate your time today. Glad that you're back. Glad that you're feeling well. Stay safe. Stay well. Drink some more. Get home as quick as you can. Get another day of rest as much as you can after work, and hopefully you'll improve.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks for talking. I appreciate it, guys.
All right. I appreciate it. Zach Petty from the Big 7 every morning here on the Watchdog Morning Show, except when he's sick. Like, Big Boy, I am so glad. I got really nervous when he and Steven were saying things like, we need more whiskey in the morning. I thought, oh, man, if Roger's listening or Brenda's listening, this could get him in trouble.
No. It was the dog that they had at the last segment before they signed off.
The dog was whiskey.
That was the name of the dog, yes.
Okay, well, that explains it.
Yeah.
That's not so bad.
No.
Not so bad. I thought they had said the quiet part out loud.
No, I think they knew what they were doing.
Okay, all right. Well, then I feel better about that. You know who else knows what they're doing, Biffy?
Who's that?
Jim Frio and Shane Stack.
Yes, they do.
The folks at the Frio Stack Auction House really know what they're doing. They're about the best around, and that's why I like them. That's why they're my friends. I've known them both for a long, long time. They've got an online auction coming up I wanted to tell you about. Frio Stack Auction has an online auction coming up. The bidding will close on Monday. The bidding closes on Monday. It's a private coin collection. Silver coins, bullion, a whole lot of other things. Morgan dollars. I don't know what a Morgan dollar is. 20 plus Morgan dollars. What's a Morgan dollar? Shane, what's a Morgan dollar? Tell me. Anyway, it's basically a private coin collection up for auction, online only, being done by friends at Frio Stack Auction Services. The bidding closes on Monday, so you want to check it out ahead of time by going to FrioAuction.com and then look up the upcoming events, and there's a lot of information about there. Or contact the office if you'd like to, and get more info. But it's an online auction. Frio Stack has it coming up on Monday. The online auction bidding will close. And I'm looking at, it won't do me any good to read you all these things that they have on their sheet about what's coming up, because I don't know what they are. An 1899 Morgan dollar. Okay. 1885 Morgan dollar. 1886 S Morgan dollar. I got to find out. I'm sure Shane will tell me. What's a Morgan dollar? Anyway, check it out. Frio Stack has got this event coming up, so be aware of that. Do I need another break, Biffy?
No, we're good.
All right, it's 5 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Next hour, Hoppy Kirchhoff will join me, and he and I will talk about a couple of things. The Manchin Justice feud, which has gotten interesting this week. The two of them really went at each other. Not together. I mean, they didn't physically look each other in the eye, but they each looked us in the eye and had a lot to say about the other. Manchin and Justice kind of going at it. Hoppy and I will talk about that. The income tax reduction proposal has now officially been introduced into the House. And what's going to happen to it, Hoppy and I will talk about that coming up next hour. And we are hitting officially tomorrow the midway mark of the legislative session in Charleston. How's it been going? I'd like to get Kirchhoff's analysis of that. So Hoppy and I will have that conversation coming up next hour. A lot of stuff coming out of Charleston today, including this really strange thing about Senator Carnes. Carnes is the guy that I've been calling the jockstrap wearing face mask guy this year. And Carnes is the guy who a number of years ago called the union members who had taken time off work to come down and lobby the legislature. He pointed up in the gallery and said, "Those are the freeloaders up there." Working men and women who came down, took time off work to come down to lobby they're freeloaders. Anyways, Robert Karnes, senator, who lost his bid for re-election and then was elected the next election back into the Senate. But yesterday he did a bizarre thing. He gave up all of it. He's not going to work on any more committees this year. He says he has too much else to do in his life. We'll talk about that with Hoppy coming up next hour as well. I want to talk to you about my friends at FanDuel right now. You know, one of the things that make betting on basketball really fun is there's always new kinds of player props or game props that you can find on FanDuel and that really kind of make it exciting and turn things around and give you a little more skin in the game, a little more fun, for example. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine their prop bets with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. Cleverly enough, they call it the same game parlay bet. And you can only find same game parlays on FanDuel. Same game parlay bets have all different kinds of NBA market options, player point totals, rebounds, assists, all the prop bets that you're looking for, the money line, the over, the under, and whatever all different kinds of options for you on FanDuel. And of course, you can root for your favorite players. If you want to create a player-focused same game parlay, you can do that. So it's a chance to put a small bet down and then win big. So give some example, give some thought to this, and have some fun. Gaming can be fun. So, but first you have to be part of the FanDuel group. So whether you're new to FanDuel or use FanDuel Sportsbook every day, check out the NBA same game parlays every day. Same game parlays, just one reason why FanDuel is America's El Numero Uno Sportsbook. Their app is, by the way, that'll probably get me canceled in Cancer Culture Time, since I said El Numero Uno. That's probably going to get me canceled. Their app is simple to use, great odds in all different betting markets, exclusive always-on promotions, and more. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. Remember, new users get their first bet risk-free. Use my name, Monroe, at sign-up. You must be 21 or older, physically present in Pennsylvania or West Virginia. Your first online real money wager only. Site credit non-withdrawable expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. And if you have a gambling problem, check out www.1800gambler.net. FanDuel, more ways to win. We'll talk about the royal interview coming up next. Watchdog Morning Show.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Restrictions. Not all business owners are happy about it, though.
All right. I think I told you Victoria's at 8:10, right? Yeah, and then Hoppy, we have to call him at 8:40. And that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Yeah, I have it on my list here to do. I'm not sure where, but yes, I haven't forgotten. But you feel free to nudge me again. You know what? Maybe what I might do is set it up before I start talking to Victoria. I think I'll do it that way. When we come back, I'll just do the, review of stuff we're talking about. I'll set up the Watchdog Madness. Once you get me in with Victoria, then you can take some calls. Does that make sense? Does that work physically? Okay, we'll do it that way. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
From the Watchdog, here is your local weather forecast for your Wednesday. Mostly sunny and breezy, high of 67. tonight, mostly cloudy and breezy with a low of 50. And for your Thursday, expect a chance of showers in the morning, then partly sunny for the afternoon and breezy with a high of 66. And that's your local weather forecast from the Watchdog.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Why are you up so early?
We got a show to do.
We've got a show to do.
When does the show start?
For Wednesday. This is Wednesday.
Is this every Wednesday?
We've been over this a million times.
Every Wednesday.
Okay, what do we do? Pull together as a team?
Let's put on a show. Yeah, I just said that.
Enough lollygagging. Now let's get to work.
I'm waiting on you.
All right, let's do this.
Show starts
now.
Pop, pop, it's showtime. Showtime.
A fresh take on local, regional, and national news. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe, brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
In the immortal words of Columbus native and humorist James Thurber, it's my world, and you're welcome to it. Good morning, welcome to a Wednesday, hump day. Got a lot to squeeze into this hour of the show. We've got lots of news out of the legislature down in Charleston. Governor Justice's income tax reduction has been officially introduced. Lots of debate over that. Not a lot of consensus on that bill at all yet. Of course, I think it is absolutely idiotic. We'll talk about that. Senator Carnes, the guy who wears the jockstrap on his face. Well, it's not really a jockstrap, but he doesn't want to wear a face mask, so he just wears the straps around his face, trying to make a point about face masks. He resigned all of his committees yesterday. He said he's too busy in his business to do committee work. Didn't resign the legislature, just resigned his committees. Some people think it may have something to do with him taking a lot of flack for that jockstrap mask. I don't know that that's the case. I'm just not sure. He may have been just honest about it. He's selling some of his business, and he may be trying to devote more time to that. I don't know. We'll talk about that coming up later on. The governor has issued an order to send all students back to school 5 days a week, and also to open up all businesses to 100% capacity, still with masks and social distancing, of course. But a lot of lawmakers, 81 of them to be specifically, and me too, are saying if we can have the kids go back to school and if we can open up businesses 100%, could you tell me why we can't get you, Governor, out of your little secret room where you hold your press conferences under such controlled circumstances that reporters have to zoom in and only get one question and you control everything? And also, can the supermajority Republicans tell us why are you keeping the Capitol closed? Nobody in, no public, no lobbyists, no visitors, no public hearings because of COVID. If we are opening everything else up in the state, how come we're not open the Capitol? 81 legislators are asking that question. So these are some of the things that we'll get into with Hoppy Kercheval coming up later on in this hour of the show. Local restaurants have some mixed reaction to the 100% reopening rules. Congress today will likely pass the COVID relief bill and send it to President Biden. And we're going to register more of you for our Watchdog Madness contest. You know how this works. The Selection Sunday is coming up this Sunday for March Madness, and the 64 seeded teams will be selected and put in their brackets. And what we are doing is getting 64 of you registered, and on a Selection Monday, which will be next Monday, after the teams are selected, we will then draw one name out and draw one team out and match you up. And if you're on our 64 list, you will then have a chance to win a big screen TV that we're giving away here on the Watchdog. How do you get registered? Well, you call in, and you can do it right now. I'm going to talk to Victoria Jones. So while I'm talking to Victoria, if you would like to be registered in our Watchdog Madness contest for your chance to win a big screen TV, call in 304-232-8255, 304-232-TALK, and Biff will get your name and number. Do me a favor. If Biff says hold the line, please hold the line. We have lost a couple of contestants over the last few days. Biff says, hold the line. He goes off and gets other contestants, then comes back to get your information. And some of you have been hanging up. And you don't get counted. So if Biff says hold the line, please hold the line. You can start calling at 304-232-8255. I want to talk to an old friend and our official royal watcher here on the Watchdog Morning Show, Victoria Jones. Victoria, how are you this morning?
I am well, thank you. I am whining to anybody who will listen about the slowness, just a quick whine, of Montgomery County in Maryland, an extremely wealthy, very wealthy county. Jamie Raskin is my representative. Larry Hogan is Maryland's governor. And rollout of the vaccine, which is being botched. And,
really?
So just a shout out there.
Or a shout down or something. Well, I was just going to ask you, have you had your COVID vaccine yet? But I guess the answer is no. No. I'm sorry to hear that. So you're still being a COVID hermit, basically.
I am. I mean, there are vaccine hunters. There are vaccine hunter Facebook groups. There are people who rush from place to place. I refuse to take part in that kind of shenanigans. I'm just not doing it. It's ridiculous. I'm just going to wait. They have only I spoke to a host this morning who we both know very well and love from Tennessee, and I had this confirmed by a source friend of mine in Tennessee last night. In Tennessee, they are now vaccinating anybody above the age of 16 who has, conditions. That's where they're up to. In Montgomery County, Maryland, they've just started vaccinating ages 65 to 75, only just a week ago. Yes!
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yes!
Now, we are in West Virginia. I'm not saying we are vaccinating, but we are accepting for appointments. We started with 80, 70, and then 65. At that point, I got into it, and I do have my 2 shots. And then dropped it down to 50 last week. And also, as you pointed out, the governor added anybody over the age of 16 with a immunosuppressive condition that would make them susceptible. So we 16 and older if you have conditions, and essentially 50 and older if you just 50 and older, period. And we're doing pretty well here in West Virginia, to be honest with you. I'm like you, though, and I was lucky. I was able to get a vaccine early, back when we had to call in and dial in, the number and try and get an appointment. They were getting 3,000 calls a minute to these numbers. Somehow we got through, so I got my appointment. People are running around like crazy. You're right, going up and down the northern panhandle, for example, here in West Virginia, knocking on doors of pharmacies. You got any vaccine in there? I mean, it's just, I don't know. Hopefully it'll all work itself out eventually. But I'm just excited. I have my vaccine. I'm still really antsy. I'm very, I have an awful lot of medical issues that make me very susceptible, even though I should be okay now. I'm still really playing it safe, but I'm getting closer and closer to actually going to lunch. That's what I just want to go to lunch one of these days, Yeah.
Well, they want you to, continue wearing a mask because you can be a carrier.
Right.
So, and not know it and not have symptoms. So, apparently. The guidelines came out yesterday on this, and but it's encouraging, and I'm just hopeful that I will eventually get this vaccine, and I can go to my nephew's twice postponed wedding celebration next May in England. That would, because I got the dresses last year, and I'm just getting a bit tired of it.
Well, let's talk about England. I didn't pay any attention whatsoever to the Harry and Meghan interview. I have to be honest. I'm just one of these ones. I don't have a great interest in that. I was intrigued the day after to the huge amount of follow-up to that interview. I guess they dropped a few bombshells, they're calling them, during the interview with Oprah Winfrey. Did you watch the interview? What did you think?
I watched bits. Of course, I read extensive reviews, watched clips, read extensive coverage, a lot of it in the British press, particularly the well-connected to the Palace British press, which has been extremely interesting, because not only to the Palace, but also to some facts British press. And so I think there's some really interesting things here, because I think, Meghan has perceptions, she has reality, because I do think she was suicidal. If she felt that way, she was. And then there are also facts. And sometimes the facts are not the same as her perception, or what she says her perception was.
Where do you think facts and perception differ in this case?
Well, I think, and there are some things that are implausible, and I'm not saying that they're not true, but they're pretty implausible. Well, facts and perception, I mean, she says she just didn't get any coaching or any help in understanding what she was expected to do, when she joined the royal family. Well, that's completely implausible, because, and factually inaccurate, because a young woman, I'll find her name, I've got it, she said, it was just fascinating that she said this. Let's find it. Trying to find the name of the woman here. But
we don't
anyway,
know. What did she say?
Young woman. Well, a very experienced. Well, she said that she didn't get any help with understanding how to be a royal. And a young woman who is extremely experienced in this was hired to work with her, Samantha Cohen, and she's a professional. And she was hired to show Meghan the ropes, and that's what she did, to guide her through her first year. And so there was somebody to do that. It's been reported that she treated Samantha Cohen poorly. So that's very interesting. And
it's difficult for me to imagine that the royal family, or what do they call it, the firm, or whatever the institution that represents the family. It is hard for me to conceive that they wouldn't, if for no other reason than to protect their own image, train her. I hate to use the word train, but prepare Meghan for being a member of the royal family. It doesn't make any sense they would intentionally throw her to the wolves. That doesn't make sense to me.
Cohen was hired and to guide her through her first year. It's also a little implausible that she didn't know how to curtsy until 5 minutes before she met the Queen. Samantha Cohen was hired to guide her through her first year. And also, this is astonishing. She was a graduate of Northwestern University, and she said her sense of royal life was based on fairy tales. And her knowledge of the royal family was based only on what Harry was sharing with me. She has to be the only person in the United States who didn't know anything about the royal family. Only person in the United States who knew nothing about the royal family. And almost the only young woman I know who, when you start dating a man, a boy, a chap, a guy, you Google him, and then you Google his family.
Well, you do have to do a lot of Googling if you're going into if you're dating someone from the royal family. Google isn't really necessary. You kind of know a little bit about the royal family. I would agree.
She would at least know about Diana.
That's the thing I thought. Surely, forget everything else. I mean, everybody knows the Diana story, and we know the dark side of it as well as the fairy tale side of it. Meghan Markle has to have seen herself to some extent, early on, to some extent, being in that same category. So the thought that she didn't know what she was getting into, or didn't know what the royal family was like or could do, That's hard for me to conceive. And in point of fact, she said something, did she not, during the interview about how she sees herself sort of in Diana's footsteps?
Yeah. And she also was sort of giving the impression that she faulted the firm, as you know, the royal family is known by everybody, for not seeing that as a biracial woman she could have provided added benefit to the Commonwealth. Well, that's really disingenuous, because the Queen really gave her a global platform to do important work. The Queen made Meghan patron of the Association of Commonwealth Universities. She also named Harry the president of the Queen's Commonwealth Trust and Meghan the vice president. This is huge. So the Queen put them in trust of major things to do with the Commonwealth.
Victoria, if you have questions about her, I don't say her veracity, but if you think her perceptions are off on reality, one of the more shocking comments she made was that at least a member of the royal family, not all maybe, but a member or a member of the firm, was concerned about how dark their child would be. Would she have a dark baby? Does that make sense to you?
Well, this was very interesting, and part of it is about the way Oprah Winfrey asked the question, and Oprah acted very shocked, and I don't know whether she was.
I agree with that.
Or not. And Oprah, I think, handled this in the way she wished to, because she didn't ask for context. She asked for the context, and she didn't ask why the person said it. And if you read the transcript, you'll see that Meghan did not hear this remark. Meghan says that Harry told her about it. Meghan never heard the remark. Harry heard it, and then Harry says in the interview that he heard it said, and I think this is rather sad. They both said that the Queen did not say it, Prince Philip did not say it, but then Harry says, and this is amazing, Harry said he won't say who it was because it would damage them. And so instead, he damages everybody by dumping them all in it, and like a game of Clue.
I also thought Meghan wasn't as assertive on this fact as Oprah took it to be. I mean, in the beginning, it was almost a throwaway line from Meghan, as if I remember correctly, in reading the transcript and listening to a couple of clips. And then Oprah was the one who kind of said, oh, so they were worried about it being a dark baby. And I think Meghan even said, well, I'd rather not say, but if you were to draw that conclusion, maybe that wouldn't be wrong. I mean, my point is, it isn't like, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Meghan jumped out and said, my Lord, they said they were afraid we'd have a dark baby. Oprah kind of danced around it and drew it out from them.
Oprah drew it out from them. I don't think they wanted to make a big deal of it, and I think they may be now looking at the fallout from this. But there's been fallout, and it's not a bad thing for the royal family to deal with race. Actually, it isn't. It's quite a good thing. On the other hand, we need context. I need to know who said it. I need to know why it was said. Was it an ignorant remark? Was it a racist remark? Was it said in connection with, is this going to make it difficult for Archie in certain situations? Was it said in connection with security? I don't know. And I think it's important to know. So, and then the thing about Archie not being a prince, Archie would not be a prince because the son of Harry would not be a prince, he would be a duke. And so I don't know why she would think that. It's like she thinks she's in a Disney film, and she compared herself to the Little Mermaid.
Well,
at one point in the interview.
I think that's probably true, though. She probably thinks I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean, it sounds to me as if she really does think she's in a Disney film. Or a Hallmark movie, where the the American falls in love with the royal. There's always these Hallmark movies where they end up with, falling in love and so on.
They clearly love each other enormously because they held hands nearly the entire time. They finished each other's sentences. They looked at each other a great deal. They're deeply in love. And they're building this life together. And I just hope that this works in the most wonderful way. What I would really have liked to see in that interview, and I know I wasn't going to see it, but because that's not what I don't think Oprah wanted, I would have liked to see them talk about, this is what we want to do with our lives.
Yeah.
These are our projects. This is how we want to change the world.
Well, and they may have done that, but the parts they chose to show were the parts that getting us talking, and so that's it. The royal family yesterday issued a couple of quick comments. Prince Charles danced around it yesterday, didn't answer at all. The Queen did issue, I guess it was from the Queen, it was the royal families. She issued basically I don't know, if it was a denial, we'd call it a non-denial denial, but it was we're sad to hear this, and we certainly hope that we can find out what's wrong, but I didn't get a real sense that she was all upset.
Well, she's replying in two roles. She's replying as grandmother of Harry, and she's replying as the head of state.
Right.
So Victoria, she's doing two things. And I'll tell you why Charles had to dance around it. He could not comment until the head of state's statement was out.
Yeah, that makes sense. The royals are having some problems in general, though. Prince Andrew's got his own problems. I mean, he's being tied to Jeffrey Epstein.
He's been effectively disowned by the Queen.
So, I mean, the family has got, the firm, if you will, they've got a lot of problems there. And Prince Philip is not well either, right?
No, Prince Philip's not well, and that's a bigger story. Andrew is out. I mean, the Queen has basically said, Andrew, I'm done. You're Prince Andrew, but yeah, really, that's... but Philip, who's 100 this year, is quite ill. He's recovering from heart surgery, but he's pretty ill. And hopefully, he's going to recover and have his 100th birthday, which I think Harry would like to come to the UK for, by the way. But if Philip, for some reason, takes a turn for the worse and does not make it, the Queen's been married to him for a very long time. One has to think about what effect this might have on her emotionally. She weathers every storm, but she's in her 90s, and she's alone. She's totally isolated,
Let me ask you this. I have to move on, but I want one last generic question, which is, what is the future of the monarchy in Great Britain? I mean, as you point out, Philip and the Queen are aging. They aren't going to be around a whole lot longer. I wish them well, but they're just not going to be there a whole lot longer. The heirs are actually, I mean, Prince Charles is aging. How old is Prince Charles?
Charles is in his 60s, I think. Charles is doing a great deal of the work now. That statement that came out, Charles and William were on the phone with the Queen all the time that statement was being drafted.
So, but with the Andrew thing, with now Meghan Markle and Harry sort of being disenfranchised, if you will, what is the future of the monarchy? I mean, what are Britons thinking about the future of the monarchy?
I think they're thinking, okay, we'll put up with Charles. Charles, it's bizarre to imagine Charles would have made these remarks. He has very strong multicultural, multi-religious beliefs. So that would be bizarre. I think they'll put up with Charles, and they're really waiting for William.
Okay. Victoria, I have to run on. I always appreciate talking to you. I hope you get your COVID shot pretty soon.
Yeah, me too. Jamie Raskin, Larry Hogan.
Hey, it's good talking to you again. We'll do it again soon. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Victoria Jones used to be with us on a regular basis as our D.C. correspondent. She is a former Brit and is now, she has taken the test. So she says she's taken the test. She is an American citizen now, but still maintains a lot of interest in the mother country. And it's interesting, she's taking what is a British approach to this Meghan-Harry interview, which is to doubt some of what Meghan is saying. I think Americans are buying into Meghan Markle. Brits have a lot more questions about it. It seems like Victoria was kind of taking that perspective. All right, let's do some news, and let's get Tony in here with the Mountaineer Report, and then my good friend, Mr. Kercheval, comes by. Hoppy and I will talk about some of the things pending in the legislature in West Virginia. We are moving along on a Wednesday here on the Watchdog Morning Show.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your look.
All right, Biff, I'm going to step away for a minute. Get Hoppy on the line so he's ready when we come back, okay? Thank you. And when we come back, get him on the line, but before I go to him, I'll ask you who our contestants were. All right, thanks. I'm back.
It's a matchup between the number 8 and the number 9 seeds as TCU takes on Kansas State. The winner of that game advances to play the number 1 seed Baylor. The nightcap this evening, it will be the 7 seed Oklahoma against number 10 seed Iowa State. Poor Cyclones did not win a conference game the entire year, 0-18. Oklahoma at 1 point, riding in the number 2 spot in this conference, falls all the way down to the 7 seed. Oklahoma expected to win. They would then move on to take on the Kansas Jayhawks. As for the West Virginia matchup against the Cowboys of Oklahoma State, again, that's the early starter coming up tomorrow. Our pregame coverage will begin at 10:30 with the opening tip set to go at 11:30. And this Oklahoma State team that was in Morgantown on Saturday, I don't need to tell you how hot they are, but they're real hot. Oklahoma State has now won 6 of its last 7 games in the Big 12 Conference, including 4 against teams that are currently ranked inside the AP's top 20. And whether or not Cade Cunningham plays remains to be seen, but obviously even without Cunningham, Oklahoma State can prove to be a very problematic opponent. That is today's Mountaineer Report. It's brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics. I'm Tony Caridi on the Mountaineer Sports Network from Learfield, IMG College.
Technology can be challenging for business leaders, but Omni Strategic Technologies enables your business to perform without limits. They're the only IT company the Watchdog trusts. Omni offers IT managed services, cybersecurity and advisory solutions, backup and disaster recovery, and can handle all your hardware needs. If your business is faced with any technology challenges, the answer is simple. Call Omni Strategic Technologies at 304-242-7600 or visit them at www.omniperforms.com.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
There are times when you shouldn't ignore what your body is telling you, and you need to seek medical care. At Wheeling Hospital, we want you to know that we are taking every precaution to make your visit as safe as possible. We're screening visitors, using the latest infection control technologies, offering telehealth for physician visits, and more. This is true throughout our campus, in our ER Trauma Center, our physician offices, surgical center, and on our patient floor.
Okay. Why are you laughing?
To your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
U.S. taxpayer expense. For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts. Hey, sports fan. Are you ready for the madness that is March? Watchdog style. Tune in every day for your chance to win a spot on our Watchdog bracket. 64 listeners will be given a team to cheer on through the big tournament coming up. And if your team wins the whole thing, you win a huge brand new 4K smart TV. For more information on this contest and much more, check out our Facebook page or our website at thewatchdognetwork.com.
From the West Virginia Broadcasting Hall of Fame, directly to you. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe, brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
49 degrees, sunny and clear skies outside. 49 at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 49 degrees here at my home studio in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 49 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Time to talk about some legislative matters, and we're heading up on the halfway mark of the West Virginia legislative session. I invited my friend Hoppy Kercheval, host of Statewide Talk Line, to join us to kick around some of these issues. Good morning, Hop.
Good morning, Howard. How are you?
Good. Halfway through, has it been a successful session? How do you assess this year's very unusual session?
Well, I hadn't thought about success or not success, because it depends on the bill and whether you support the bill or oppose the bill. I think a couple of themes are out there. One is that, and there are two distinct halves here. And the first half has been clearly the Republican leadership agenda, things like education savings accounts, charter schools, softening up the tank bill, liability protection for nursing homes and other entities from lawsuits as a result of COVID, ensuring or trying to ensure that impeachment is a legislative function, that there's not a judicial function. That and a lot of things, those are Republican priorities, and when you have supermajorities in both chambers, you can get all that done, and that's getting done. Now we're heading to the second half of the session, and I believe a lot of that will be dominated by debate and discussion and probably changes on Governor Justice's tax plan. This is a huge plan. It did not get introduced until this week, and so everybody is just starting to digest it. And I think you're going to see a tremendous amount of debate and discussion and arguing and maybe some deal-making on that bill.
In talking with legislators themselves, as well as with various reporters that are covering it, from Mark Curtis to Stephen Adams to Brad McElhenney, I get the sense that there is no real consensus among legislators right now what to do with this bill, other than it's going to require a whole lot of attention. Is that the way you would assess it?
Yeah, I would. I think that the Senate President, Craig Blair, is all in on this. I think the House Speaker, Roger Hanshaw, yes, comma, with some reservations, but there are going to be, there's so much in here that you're bound to have a lot of differences of opinion among lawmakers, and even among the members of the supermajorities, the Republicans. I think Democrats probably as a bloc are going to be against this, but the key is, can you get a majority of Republicans in the House and Senate to go along with this? And there's going to be a lot of opposition, I think, to the increase in the proposed sales tax from 6 to 7.9%. Taxes, this fluctuating tax, which could be higher when prices are higher, on energy. Increasing the soda pop tax significantly, increasing the beer, wine, and liquor taxes, taxes on so-called luxury items. So for every one of those, Howard, there is going to be a constituency group that's going to say, wait a minute, now that's my ox that is getting gored. Retailers, I think, are going to have concerns because of potential impact of higher sales taxes at the retail outlets on border communities like where you live. So I think there's going to be a lot of, certainly not unanimity on this plan.
I'd rather not talk about it politically, but just for a quick second, because I think this, the actuality of the bill is itself in need of great discussion. But from a political point of view, despite Governor Justice claiming that in the end it will be better for everybody and they'll pay less, and I don't think that really shows to be true, but that's irrelevant. That's what he claims. Despite that, even if it were true, the reality is that it is going to create a lot of tax increases, which politically will make those who vote for it subject to the Joe Blow increased your taxes in the next election. No matter how it ends up being in total, they are increasing sales tax, tobacco tax. They're adding not a wealth tax, a luxury tax. I mean, there are a lot of taxes going up as a result of this.
Yeah, and you're right. Look, is there politics involved? Of course, it's a political body. So let's say you raise the sales tax to, let's just call it 8%. So that's not a 2% increase. That's an increase of 2 percentage points, but it's an increase of 33%, right? Because it's 6%, it's going to go up to 8%. That's an increase of 33%. So, Howard Monroe, delegate from Ohio County, he increased your taxes 33%. Now, that's going to be true. There's another half to that. That's only a half truth, but there's another half to that is, well, if you paid income taxes of, if you paid a state income tax of 25 of, let's make it simple, of $3,000, he also lowered your income tax by $2,000. But that takes a while to explain, right?
That's complicated, right? Exactly.
I lowered your taxes before I increased your taxes. So it gets, and I've gotten a lot of texts, I'm sure you have too, of people looking at, as they should, their individual circumstance. They're looking at how much state income tax they pay, and they're looking at the lifestyle, things they buy. Do they smoke? Do they drink? And, okay, so am I better off or not with this? So there's an individual aspect of this, and then there's the larger aspect, is there a greater good that can be accomplished? Governor Justice is leading the way on this, and he's enthusiastic, and he's going big, and I do think there's a desire generally to do big things in West Virginia because we always fool around the margins. But then, is this the right big thing? You know, Howard, if I come home from work one day and I tell my wife, I said, honey, I got great news. We're moving to Alaska. And she says, why? I said, because the potential is unlimited there. We can have the greatest life ever if we move to Alaska. And I think she might be deferential and say, okay, well, I appreciate that. That's such a big change. Can you give me some reasons why? Well, and that's where it starts. I mean, it's not just enough to say this will be all goodness, as the governor tends to do. You need to quantify this. Not get overly technical, but you do need some rational explanations as to why this will be better.
Well, let me be brutally clear so everybody knows where I come from. I think that the premise is terribly flawed. I think the idea that hundreds of thousands of people, Craig Blair at one point said 400,000 people, that hundreds of thousands of people will come flocking to West Virginia simply because we have no income tax is, I think, just a terribly flawed concept. I do not believe that is the motivating factor for anybody or almost anybody. Go to Florida. It has no income tax. That's good, but it also has beaches and sand and golf courses and, good weather. Yeah. You go there for a variety of reasons, one of which may well be income tax. I don't know that we match that kind of, that's the same thing as here. So I don't think the premise is right, and therefore I think that the idea that it's going to, raise all ships, so to speak, it makes me extremely, extremely nervous.
Well, I think that's a very legitimate question. And again, that can be data driven. I wrote about it this week, is that if you get rid of the income tax, will they come? And the answer is kind of complicated. There are states that are growing that have no income tax, like Washington State, Florida, but they have other advantages that West Virginia may or may not have. I mean, Washington State doesn't have an income tax, and it's growing tremendously. It is also rated by U.S. News and World Report as the best state in the nation. By best, they look at all kinds of things: the economy, healthcare, activities people can engage in, broadband, all kinds of things. And West Virginia, on that same ranking, comes in like 47th. I don't want to downgrade our state, but there are other factors that people consider when they're relocating. Florida becomes a natural. Why? Well, because it's warm and it's beautiful, and also they have no income tax.
Yeah, and it's the and also. Do I think that has a factor? Is a factor? I do, but I don't think it's a defining factor. Now, here, border areas have a particular interest in this, I think, for two reasons. And first of all, we'll talk about the positive. I think it is conceivable that some people who are living in Allegheny County in Pennsylvania might look at no income tax in West Virginia and say, geez, I can just go 15 minutes across the border into West Virginia, find a home with lower property taxes and no income taxes, still work in Pittsburgh or South Point or whatever.
Right.
For certain people in certain circumstances, it may make sense, but I can't see the hundreds of thousands of people just across the country flocking in. The other border thing, as you pointed out, on the negative side is the tax thing. We travel to the Ohio Valley Mall multiple times a week. It's not as if it's a great trip to go across the state line. We go across the Fort Henry Bridge, a little tough to do these days because of construction, but nonetheless, we go across the Fort Henry Bridge. My wife and I go to Melman's Cafeteria every Sunday. So it's not like we're traveling huge distances, and I think more and more people would do that. Keep in mind that in the city of Wheeling, Moundsville, I think Weirton as well, we've got an extra 1% sales tax in the city.
Right.
So that 7.9 becomes 8.9% for people in the city of Wheeling. That's a
9%.
tax to pay. Yeah, 9%.
So and you know, maybe if you're just going to a convenience store and you're getting your coffee and, you know, a pastry, it's not that big of a deal. But, you know, if you're spending $400, $500, $1,000, well, it starts to add up, right? And people start to take notice. 3%, maybe not so much. 9%.
If you are buying, as, for example, one of my kids is renovating a house and he's buying all new appliances, you know, by the time because some of those appliances get into the we're not totally sure yet, may get into the luxury tax category. So it's not just the sales tax. If you're buying a large ticket item, you're going to pay additional tax because it's a luxury item. It calls a luxury item. So those things are huge. I mean, I guess, as you pointed out, the details really are important in this. And I think there's going to be a lot of debate about that in the legislature. I can't see this bill passing in anything near its current form. Can I see it passing with a lot of modifications? Yeah, but not in its current form. Because time is short, I want to ask you one other question. I see dozens of lawmakers have called for the reopening of the Capitol. The governor has said that students should be back in school 5 days a week. He's opening up businesses to 100% capacity, bars, restaurants, retail stores. And yet, as far as I know, the governor is still holding his COVID press conferences away from the reporters, and the Capitol is still closed down. Isn't there some disparity there that doesn't make sense?
Yeah, I guess there is. I mean, there is. I tell you this, I don't know. I mean, if they reopened, then what would it look like? Because having been there, as you have been there, people are on top of each other many times. And it would be, unless they were able to enforce and put in place really strict mechanisms. But there's some disparity there. I mean, it's an awkward look, as we like to say in the industry. The optics are not good for that.
Well, so. You could have more. You could regulate more of public hearings, public involvement. I would agree. You still have to have social distancing and set up some more guidelines. But it does seem to me right now it's like a closed fortress. And I get the argument for that, by the way. Mm-hmm. But if the rest of the state is opened up, why in the world wouldn't they open up?
Yeah, that's I mean, it's a fair
argument. One last
argument.
question, Hop, because I'm looking at my clock. I got to get your thoughts on this. What's going on with Senator Carnes?
Well, there are two schools of thought. One is that he, and again, he's wrote a letter to leadership and said he's not going to be able to take part in committee activities. You know, he's been. He says if you take him at face value, it's I have this work I have to do. I'm still in business, and my business responsibilities require that I spend more time with that and less time here. So that's the explanation. There's another one that he had not been wearing a mask. He'd been mocking wearing masks, and there's a theory that he was getting grief about that, or the Senate president gave him some attitude about that, and that Carnes was upset about that. So there are, again, two schools of thought there. But you can take him at face value and say he's got other things to do.
What's your best guess?
I don't know, because I'm not being there. I don't have a feel for it, so I can only report to you what he says is the reason, and then what is also back channel theorized. But not being there, I don't have any additional insight on that. Sorry.
Let's come up on Talkline today.
Well, we're going to get caught up on what's happening under the Capitol. Legal exchange back in the news, and we'll continue to weigh in on the family feud between Justice and Manchin and see how we can sort that out. See if we can get them to sit down together and
I wish we had time to talk about that. I'm out of time for right now because I'd like to get into that a little bit as well.
Sure.
And one of these days I want to talk to you about Manchin in general. You know, is he just stroking himself by feeling so powerful, or? Yeah, I mean, everybody's talking to Manchin anymore.
Oh my gosh, it's right where he wants to be, in the middle.
Exactly.
Right in the middle.
So, we'll have to talk about that some other time because I'm out of time right now.
Okay.
Good talking to you, my friend. 10:06 today, statewide talk line. Check with you then.
Bye-bye.
And thanks, bye-bye. And for me, I got to get out of here. Biffy, I'm back tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, and they go around to the big gig. Are you back with me?
I'm here for a Thursday.
Gonna keep on doing it till we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
That I'll be back.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says that...
All right, Biffy, we made it through. Did I forget anything? I think I got everything. Got FanDuel, got Frio, got Watchdogs. Yeah, we got the content. What'd you get, 2? Okay. Okay, so we need to get 3 one day and 2 one day. Okay, that's fine. At the moment, I've got nothing scheduled for tomorrow, so it could be a nice open day. I may want to play some extra Watchdog madness tomorrow. I'll come up with something probably. All right, I'll be down there in a little bit. If there's anything going on, you can talk to me then or call me if you need me. Otherwise, I will talk to you. I'll see you in a little bit, but I'll talk to you in the morning too. All right, thanks for your help. I appreciate it. All right, bye.
The Trump administration included the former president's name on the memo line of the checks that went out last April. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
The number of unaccompanied minors at the southern border and the number being held in detention centers is growing daily.
Despite promising transparency, officials have not allowed journalists in to see the conditions themselves. The press secretary pressed on the situation more than a dozen times in Tuesday's briefing, refusing to confirm even those latest figures on children crossing the border.
I'm not going to confirm numbers from here.
Why won't you confirm that number? That's a very important number.
Those numbers are tracked by the Department of Homeland Security, so I'm just suggesting that you talk to them.
ABC News senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega there. So far, they have chosen 3 jurors in the Minneapolis murder trial of Derek Chauvin, the police officer seen on video with his knee on the neck of George Floyd. Jury selection resuming today. This is ABC News.
Cleanliness and safety are essential to the success of any business. That's why Cintas has introduced our Total Clean program, a one-of-a-kind service that includes scheduled deliveries of essential cleaning supplies, hygienically cleaned uniforms, and on-site sanitizer and disinfectant